Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dork side. I am your friendly neighborhood dork in the woods, and today I want to tell you 5 reasons why dual sports like the CRF 250L are better than dirt bikes. That's right everyone, I am the dork in the road and I want to be your internet riding buddy. But I'm better than your regular riding buddies because I'm available whenever you want and I come with a mute button. So please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you know when new content just like this gets posted. So as you know, as many of you know, I am an avid dual sport rider. I have taken this CRF 250L up in the mountains, right, like I am right now. I've trail ridden with it, I've ridden it on the road, I've done lots and lots of things with it. It's very versatile and I enjoy it. And so I'm a big proponent of these motorcycles, even going so far as to suggest that they are the perfect first motorcycle for a new rider for a lot of reasons. If you mention that you buy a dual sport motorcycle, you're inevitably going to get some comments from dirt bike riders telling you why their chosen type of motorcycling is superior to yours. So let's just get the elephant out of the room, or the elephant, ow, that butterfly hit me right in the eye. Thank you, goggles. The elephant in the woods out of the way right away, okay? This video is not about performance. It's no secret and it's obvious low-hanging fruit to mention that a dirt bike is more powerful than a dual sport motorcycle. It just is. They just are. That's just a thing. That's why I turned last time, I think. They're more powerful and they're more capable. So let's just get that out of the way. That's true. And it comes with some trade-offs, and those trade-offs are what we're going to talk about in this video. But if you started this video and you're like, oh, they're not better because they're slow. They are slow, and they're heavy, and they're less capable in a lot of ways. But, so those are 3 reasons dirt bikes might be better than dual sports, but I'm going to tell you 5 areas where a dual sport is superior to a dirt bike, in my humble opinion. And the first one is obvious. Well, the first one is maintenance. Dirt bikes have more high-performance engines, higher compression, they run at higher revs, and they require, as a result, much more extensive and frequent maintenance. If you have a dirt bike, you're measuring how often you go between oil changes in hours. I measure how often I go between oil changes in this bike in a year. I measure it in years. I change the oil on this bike once a year because I only ride it off-road, and so I don't put enough miles on it to hit the manufacturer's recommendation for oil changes before that. So I do 1 oil change a year on this bike. Obviously, if I put a lot more miles on it, I might do 2, but I can never really see myself needing to do more than that. So if you're riding dirt bikes, you're changing them every time you go out, every other time you go out, or at least a lot more often if that's not 100% accurate, because obviously there's some variation. So that type of maintenance. They also need to be serviced, and the engines wear out faster, so they just need more maintenance. And if that's something you're into, if it's a worthwhile trade-off for you, good for you. Give me the reliable bike that I know I can just get on and go pretty much whenever I want, and if I forget to do some maintenance, it's not a huge deal. Like, that's what I'm after. So dual sports are better than dirt bikes because they require less maintenance. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 kind of ties together, reliability and the longevity of the engine. This CRF 250L will outlive me if properly maintained, and there's that think sign. And by properly maintained, I mean once a year, changing the oil, change the air filter every couple years, and cleaning the chain, every other time I go out. That's all it's going to take. It's so gorgeous. Look at this. Look at it. It's very pretty up there. This is the kind of stuff you can see on a dual sport. The dirt bike engines need to be rebuilt far more often. This one hopefully will never need to be rebuilt. It's good for thousands of miles. Steph Jevons rode a CRF 250L around the world, so these engines can go for a long time. Honda engines are bulletproof, and they're pretty much the same for the Suzuki, Kawasaki. Now the KTMs are a little bit more high performance, and so they're a little bit more of a hybrid. You start to cross the line into dirt bike territory, but they're still going to have more longevity and last longer and need less maintenance than their dirt bike counterparts, equivalent dirt bike counterparts. It's a trade-off for less performance equals longer lasting engine in general. That's an overgeneralization, but you get the idea. Number 3, it is so nice on this dual sport to never ever have to worry if I'm allowed to ride where I'm at, because it's street legal. So for instance, one time Duck Fan and I were up riding in the OHV park near Big Lake, at Santiam OHV park. and we got to a section of road that said no HVs allowed because it was leading back to the campground, but it was also connecting trails. And I was like, doesn't matter to us because we're street legal. I can go anywhere a car could go. So there's none of that. You can't be up here in the forest with your dirt bike, because if a car could come up here, if a truck could come up here, I can come up here. So I don't need OHV accessible roads to ride this. I can take it anywhere. So I can ride it anywhere I want. I mean, obviously not on private property, but I also can connect. So if there is a really cool off-road, like up here, there's a lot of forest roads, but sometimes you need to get on highways to connect them, right? So you can connect trails, and you can't do that with a dirt bike legally, or a quad, or a side-by-side. They can only go in those designated places for OHVs. But on a dual sport, doesn't matter. So no, it's not as capable as a dirt bike, but you're able to go everywhere. So I was going to put a number on the number of times more places you can go, and I couldn't even tell you. Like, you have very limited areas, and on a dirt bike you could head up a forest road and end up, you know, back at the highway, and like crap, I could cruise down the highway for 5 miles and get back to where I started, or I could go back 20 miles through the woods. On a dirt bike you don't have a choice. On this thing I could be like, well, guess I'll put on the highway for a bit. The fact that you can go anywhere, no limitations, anywhere that's street legal, big advantage to a dual sport, I'm telling you. Number 4, and I may be a hypocrite here on some score, so you can call me out on that, but the ability is what I'm talking about, not what I actually do. Do as I say, not as I do. But with a dirt bike, if you want to go ride your dirt bike pretty much anywhere, unless you live out in the country or have a lot of property, you have to transport it. You either have to put it on a trailer, in the back of your truck, on a hitch carrier, something like that. You can't ride it to where you want to go, which means you need a truck, a hitch carrier, or a trailer to transport it. So there's that added piece. Dirt bikes is a go and do the thing hobby. Dual sporting is a hop on your bike and go hobby. Now, I brought my bike up here today in the back of my truck, but that's a fuel tank thing, because I've done 33 miles and it's another 20 back to the truck. That's half the fuel capacity of this bike. I wouldn't have had enough to get up from town and back. So I put it in the back of the truck. But I don't have to. If I wasn't coming up here, if I was going somewhere closer to town, I could hop on my dual sport, get gas in town. Like that ride that Duck Fan and I did up around Mary's Peak on these bikes. We just stopped and got gas in town, went up, did the loop, came back, got gas again. So you can just hop on your bike and go. No need to transport it. And there's 2 advantages to that. One, it's just less of a pain in the ass, because you don't have to load everything up and unload everything all the time, even though some of us choose to do that with our dual sports. But 2, you don't have to premeditate. You can just on a whim be like, I'm gonna go, and you just hop on and you're riding already. No waiting to get there, no driving long periods of time before you can get on the bike like you have to do with a dirt bike. The big advantage to a dual sport is you do not need to transport it. The 5th reason why dual sports are better than dirt bikes. Dirt bikes are very specialized, right? They're really good at one thing, riding off-road. That is what they do. They're better than dual sports at riding off-road. They're better than dual sports at that one thing. Like a screwdriver is better at driving a screw than a multi-tool, but the screwdriver doesn't have pliers, it doesn't have wire snips, it doesn't do any of that other stuff. You can get by with a multi-tool if you have to drive a screw, but you can't get by with a screwdriver if you need to trim some wire or use a Phillips head screw even. It doesn't even do similar things as well. A dual sport is like the ultimate multi-tool, because I've always said this, it does everything any other bike does 80% as well. I know I say this in videos a lot, but I firmly believe it. You want to go trail riding? 80% as good as a dirt bike. You want to ride in the woods? 80% as good as... You want to go on a long distance ride? You're going to be uncomfortable, but it'll do it 80% as good as a street bike. You want to hoon around town and do hooligan stuff? You can do that 80% as well as you could on a supermoto. You want a commuter? This bike will commute and get you 50 to 70 miles to the gallon. Save you money driving your car. Insurance is cheap as hell. It's a great commuter. You want to go to the grocery store? You can go to the grocery store on your dual sport, no problem. Maybe get a backpack or something. You can do pretty much anything on this bike. They're so versatile. It's like a multi-tool with 10,000 attachments. And that's what I love the most about this motorcycle, and that's why if I only had one bike, it would be this one. Because I wouldn't have to stop doing anything I do. I would just have to modify it and do it less comfortably. But I could still do it. I could moto camp off of this. I could ride, go on hours-long rides with Duck Fan on this. I would like different tires. But I could do it, because this bike is very versatile, and it crushes it. So there you go. That's the 5 things. Maintenance, reliability, and longevity. The ability to ride wherever you want without having to worry about whether or not you're allowed to ride there. Not needing to transport the thing if you don't want to, and it's just its overall versatility. It is so much more than just a bike that you ride off-road. It can be. So what do you think? You tell me. I know there's some dirt bikers that are going to come in and be like, oh, my dual sports suck off-road. You know what? They suck more than a dirt bike, but they're better than a street bike because they're 80% as good as a dirt bike. So I don't need to go that much faster. These other 5 advantages outweigh the disadvantage of not being able to do as much off-road for me. So what do you think? Do you think dual sports are better than dirt bikes? Why? Give me a reason. What I forget to say? Tell me in the comments. Hey, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you found some entertainment or enlightenment from this video. I appreciate you, and as always, do not forget to be excellent to each other. I thank you.